an event where USS Bear, excuse me, the U.S. Coast Guard vessel Bear was able to bring back about $70 million in confiscated cocaine and marijuana. So I want to, before we even begin, thank Admiral Ray for all the help he provided when I was in Florida, and all the great men and women who I was able to learn from. Well, good afternoon. We'll come to order. This afternoon's hearings on Arctic maritime infrastructure, both what is needed now and what is needed in the near future. The simple truth is the Arctic is warming. Statement's not conjecture, but measurable and observable fact. Melting sea ice and the opening of navigable waters make shorter voyages and substantial cost savings possible for ocean carriers sailing between major trading blocks. So today we'll explore what infrastructure is necessary to safely and reliably sustain increased levels of commercial and governmental activity in this remote and inhospitable region. Similarly, increased oil and gas exploration, commercial shipping, and adventure tourism in the Arctic are likely to increase the risk of maritime accidents and create new sources of pollution in what still remains a mostly unspoiled domain. Yet, at present, harbors of refuge are few and far between. Despite several surveys, no deepwater port facility has been built to support high-latitude maritime operations. The U.S. Coast Guard is tasked with maintaining maritime safety, search and rescue, emergency response, and law enforcement across this vast area, but is asked to undertake these missions with limited resources, or in the worst of circumstances, like the government shutdown, without being paid. Certainly, it was great news 2 weeks ago when the Coast Guard announced the award of a contract to finalize, design, and begin construction of the first new heavy icebreaker in over 45 years. But the reality remains the Coast Guard District 17, the district responsible for Alaska and the U.S. Arctic, has pressing air support deficiencies and substantial unmet shoreside infrastructure needs that pose considerable challenges to the Coast Guard capabilities and mission readiness. As much of the Arctic is a uniquely challenging environment, it is also uniquely vulnerable. We currently rely on international cooperative efforts for coordinated search and rescue, navigational safety, and environmental safety for oversight and response in the high north. Strong U.S. involvement in the Arctic Council and International Maritime Organization can help mitigate risks and ensure the safety of maritime operations. But at what point do we become too reliant on the shared infrastructure and capabilities offered by our Arctic neighbors? For several years now, this subcommittee has examined the rapid emergence of the U.S. Arctic as a genuine new frontier. A frontier filled with grand promise, but great peril too. I look forward to hearing from our expert witnesses this afternoon to gather their recommendations on how best to secure our sovereign presence in the Arctic by making a strategic and sustained commitment to address our present and future maritime infrastructure needs. Now calling the ranking member for any opening remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Maloney. The United States defines the Arctic as the area north of the Aleutian Islands. That area includes 568,000 square nautical miles of the United States exclusive economic zone, but very little maritime transportation infrastructure exists there. Extreme weather and sparse populations have kept maritime transportation in the area to a minimum. Fisheries